my adrenaline because you don't want adrenaline in your system when you're doing strategic thought, visualization, pattern recognition, etc. So I actually want to get adrenaline into my system before the boxing round begins so I don't have a slow start. So it doesn't take a strong hit to the head for my body to react, oh, I'm in trouble, I need to engage fight or flight and get adrenaline into my system. So here we are. First round is underway. Andreas and Nicolò have the black and the white pieces respectively. And we see e4, e5 opening and matched with d4. It looks like a King's Indian, but that pawn isn't on d6. So what do you make of this position so far, Carl?
Well, it's actually a modern defense, and then playing d5, hitting straight in the center. It's a little bit tricky. It's not the usual thing, but you see, if you blitz enough on the internet, you'll see it once or twice for sure.
We love our blitz. We love our bullet. It's like a drug addiction. I recently got into bullet and I can't stop. It's a problem. And I'll go. It's like gambling. I'll go up 500 ELO. I'll go down 300 ELO.
Start drinking.
Yeah, and usually those numbers are switched. Maybe I'll go up 300, down 500. But that's neither here nor there. We do see more development, clearing the space for the kings to castle. Black is already castled. White is about to.
I think both players are playing extremely well. I believe that with white, he's an Italian fighter, and he's like a candidate master, or maybe even a master, almost a FIDE master.
So closing in on a FIDE master. This is, I believe, who was up against French fighter Sardoche in one of the early rounds. I see a nice black eye, courtesy of Andreas, dawned on the Italian fighter's face. And that goes to show the format of this world championship and fighting multiple days in a row. Usually, after you have a big fight, you have a long time before you have to fight again. Weeks, months, usually months. And in the world championship, you might have half a day before you are back in the ring, putting yourself in harm's way again for the glory of your country.
Well, it's the reason of the format, Matt. That's why we have shorter. Are we hearing you?
Yeah, shorter format and.
No, it's fine, but maybe they add more music on that phone. We turn down you can carry on.
Okay, sorry for the interruption, guys. We just had a change in AV. We were live to the room, and we just got notified that we are now solely live to stream. So, apologies for the break in commentary there, but. We are back, and we were talking about the format change in the world. Okay, so getting back to it, we changed from a regular chess boxing format where it's 3 knockdowns in a round, 4 in a fight, to 2 knockdowns in a round, 3 in a fight.
So he's got a second Andreas, which is kind of a funny
first 2 rounds. Andreas back to back.
And I have to say that Andreas hasn't backed down in the chess. This is probably a little equal. I would actually give black slightly better because somehow the pawn structure, that pawn on f4 was blockaded. The rooks are coming down. It just seems slightly easier to play for black. But nothing. I mean, most probably you put it on a computer and it would be equal. But
a little better for black?
Maybe just from a human eye.
Gotcha. Well, the first chess round is in the books, and we are gearing up. Vaseline getting applied to the faces, gloves being put on for our fighters' first boxing round. We do have Italy against Germany, and a FIDE master fighter, who Andreas had his way with apparently on the first day, and we have not seen this German fighter quite yet. At least I haven't. And it looks like his face hasn't seen too many hits.
Mm-hmm. I haven't. Maybe he qualified directly. Maybe the group permitted him to go through, and it's his first. So a little bit more stress, maybe, even though.
That's right. He might have had a first-round bye, to your point.
But you see, there's an advantage to that, and there's also a disadvantage. It's like that stress is still with him.
Yeah, in the first World Championship, I actually had a coin flip and a choice on whether or not to get a bye in the first round, and I chose to fight in the first round because I hadn't chess boxed before, and I wanted experience in the format going into the finals. I knew the finals were going to be very difficult. I was up against someone that had more boxing experience and was a little better at chess than me, so I wanted practice, and I knew I was in good.
$1 for your dollar.
Yeah, well, and I flew across the world. I wanted more reps. Yeah. And in the end, it did end up benefiting me. I learned a lot in in those early rounds to be able to apply in the finals against my opponent.
The ref from Latvia, I find him very good. Very professional.
Yeah, I went to San Marino with him today. Our organizer Volfongo helped bring a group to the smallest republic in the world this morning. So a group of chess boxing refs and fighters went to San Marino together, including our referee in this fight.
So Nicolò was trying to keep a bit of a distance at first, and had a little bit of a messy not much happening. Then a few flurries here and there.
No clear advantage yet. No punches landed. Those both hitting the guard of the Italian fighter. They're both really feeling each other out. It looks like a jab snuck through the guard on that last exchange. Italian fighter not really opening up to throw back yet. I think what he's doing is he knows he's a FIDE master. He knows he has an advantage in chess.
Was that a headbutt? I don't think it was intentional in any case.
I think it just got in his eye. Oh, it was a headbutt. Yep. Yep. All right, so a little bit of time to recover. Is there a cut? It doesn't look like it.
I think, okay, yeah, he might be, in that mentality of, like, let's keep it, like, the decision is going to be over the board, right? But I'm not sure that he should go for that type of, because there's nothing clear on the board. And chess players with a good level, they seem to over-exaggerate the chances at the chess, not understanding that their chess level is actually going down quite a bit.
Yeah, it's a good point. Having a high heart rate, having adrenaline in your system affects your ability to play chess. And not to the level of now he's a 300 ELO player down from 2,000, but you aren't using your full capacity, your full potential, especially if you haven't trained in the format. If you're used to playing chess and practicing boxing separately, you're at a big disadvantage when it comes to doing them in tandem and rapid succession. Now, it does look like our Italian fighter is starting to throw jabs and give his German opponent something to think about, so it isn't just a free-for-all.
I found him actually very technical there. He had a good head movement. He was boxing circling. On good circling, yeah.
Another good jab lands for Italy.
Do you call it milling to the defense in the States, or?
Yeah, milling is a term, in reference to a windmill going around in circles. Mm-hmm. And generally, he's actually kind of circling the wrong way on the German opponent. He's circling towards the power punch. Mm-hmm. Generally, you want to circle outside of the jab. It makes your opponent have to turn into you.
That's debatable. There are many schools of thought on that, and I know that one of
you want to switch it up, but the general, what you want to start by doing is getting away from danger if you're being a defensive fighter.
I do understand that, but you are getting closer to the closest hand, in the sense, if you're going towards the right.
If you're going outside of the punch, I mean, if you don't circle enough, sure, you're closer to the jab. Actually, I think you're the same distance to the jab.
I think that was a very good exchange for the Italian there.
Agreed. Yeah, very evenly matched first round. I'd say the more aggressive fighter was the German, but I don't think there was a clear winner in that round. I might have scored that a draw in boxing.
I think ever since the headbutt incident, he kind of was afraid maybe to push forward too much, and it definitely changed his pace. Maybe he himself had a little bit of backlash from the headbutt that he gave, unintentionally, of course.
Yeah, good point. And gloves are coming off. Our fighters are on their way back to the stage, back to the board. We are going to pick up this even position chess match right now. So headphones are going on. Those help cancel out the noise from the audience so that our fighters cannot hear any potential coaching, any shouts from the crowd. Although I don't know how much it would help these two fighters. They're both very good chess players. So
counseling could have a backlash effect.
All right.
So you see, White does have this bishop pair, and so that is, let's say, an advantage as such. But it's not very active, and it's very difficult to determine.
Light square bishop is great. A lot of squares that the bishop can move to. Dark square bishop, all the black pawns on the queen side of the board are on dark squares. Those could become targets a little bit later in the game. Right now, black bishop can't do too much. I'm sorry, dark square bishop can't do too much.
So the dark square, yeah, it's restricted by the pawns. At the same time, that dark square bishop is the good bishop, the one because he can get at his pawn, at those pawns, opponent's pawns, and go through his own.
And a little bit of tension here on the D file. We do have two attackers kind of lined up on that knight, and the knight can't move away because the rook would be hanging. So good from our white pieces player to set up and make it a little clunkier, a little bit more tense for our black pieces player.
Same goes for that rook. The rook that is the treasure behind the pin piece can't move either. So actually he did very well with this bishop f8, bishop d6. It was very good, well improvised. It doesn't quite solve the problem though, because after the exchanges, another rook can come. You know, it's like one train can hide another.
So that rook does come off the board, and we are right back where we were now with a bishop protecting the rook though. So the black pieces are free to move again now if he wants to or not is a matter of strategy, but it wouldn't make him immediately down a piece.
This is definitely the best chess we've seen since the opening ceremony.
I'd agree. Yeah, this is very clean chess, pretty evenly matched in time, about a 25-second advantage for white.
And I think that might be the deciding factor at the end of the day.
And we are in the end game. The queens and the rooks are off the board. We have minor pieces against minor pieces, and the bishop pair advantage going to white, but otherwise evenly matched.
So yeah, a slight advantage I would say in all because of the bishop pair and an open position with pawns on both sides of the board.
And the reason being is harder for knights to be able to cover that amount of distance on opposite sides of the board.
Just a greater scope, definitely. So maybe white, if he needs a plan. Okay, so black is doing a very good job. So those knights, they could be seen as superfluous because they're doing the same thing, but they're actually defending themselves pretty well.
And controlling center squares and controlling the b8 square where the only undefended pawn is. So that dark square bishop that is now free to move to b8 can't move there to challenge that.
I think instead of g5, I might have gone bishop d6 first, pinning that knight. Just so that when you're going to play it, you're going to exchange one of the bishops, get rid of that bishop pair. And as soon as you get rid of a bishop pair, the other bishop becomes weakened. That's the secret to it.
Gotcha. Well, I'm not sure if we're... What do you ask if we're going to lose this one?
So we're getting ready for the second round of boxing. And I think cardio-wise, they should be fine because they had a bit of a go at it. It was an equal round, but at the same time, not great exerting.
We are always live, so even when music's playing. So I have to say, this is the most evenly matched chess boxing fight that I've called in this World Championship so far. Really equal position on the board. And then I think that first boxing round was a draw or near to it. And here we are, bell rings for the second round coming underway.
But
the second boxing round.
When we say chess boxing is the greatest challenge, for me this is what it means. It means if you are evenly matched, it is the best.
Absolutely, and we see a lot of action early in this second boxing round, a flurry right off the bat from the Italian fighter nonetheless.
It looks like a totally different boxer.
He does, sticking that jab. He just snuck 3 jabs through the defense of the German fighter and came over the top with a right. Very, very clean. He is getting a warning about a strike to the back of the head. But honestly, the German fighter moved into a punch that would have been clean. So it hit the back of the head. So
I think that milling, he's understood that, and now he's got that extra confidence.
Yeah, and the German fighter really not staying at home with his defense when he throws shots, and the Italian fighter doing a great job. This looks like a different boxer from the first round. He's seeing his opportunities, seeing his openings, and taking advantage of them this time. I think he was spending the first round feeling out his opponent and understanding how he moved, and now he gets it. And I think he has the advantage so far in this boxing round.
I think he has to be slightly careful not getting over cocky because he's got a big smile on his face, and that's all very well.
He just landed 2 right hooks to the head, though. I would have a big smile on my face, too. He is doing a great job so far. Another right hook lands. And jabs landing at will. I mean, I haven't seen a jab stopped by the German fighter in the last 30 seconds.
Still going at it. Still actually
so now
the
clawing
one
up. He might be a great slip and counter lead uppercut lands, and a more advanced combo for something like that to counter with uppercuts. You really have to shift weight into your lead foot and hip to come up with any sort of force, which it looked like that had. This could be a rising star in the chess boxing community with a FIDE master rating. And pretty clean defensive boxing with more aggression than we saw in the first round. I'm definitely going to keep my eye on this Italian fighter. Great counter cross as the German fighter left his center guard open.
I think it's like his chess side has actually entered into the boxing ring. You know, like they say, the chess has just entered the chat, you know.
And there we go. A good slip and counter lead hook, and then a hook cross lands with his back up against the ropes. Although that, I think, is by his own choosing. He is choosing to circle and be an outside fighter and bait his opponent into his combinations, which has been working in this second boxing round. Great slips. Keeping his guard up, letting his opponent wear himself out until he opens himself up again. This Italian fighter does not look phased at all. 10 seconds left in this round, and he has clearly won it.
Oh, he's living the moment. He still has chess to deal with, though, and that's far from over. And I think he's maybe like 20
And there's the
now.
bell. We are done. Incredible round by the Italian fighter. I see fatigue on the German fighter, and we'll see if that comes into play in the chess round. We saw a turn on the boxing side in that last round, and maybe that is a sign of things to come on the chessboard, or maybe it's the opposite. Well, maybe the German fighter will know that, hey, I know I lost that boxing round. I don't want to go up against him again in boxing, so I need to step it up right now with my chess.
The difference is cardio take the bigger toll, or is it like survival mode coming up and like your intellect actually getting faster rather than slower?
And watching these fighters, you see deep breaths. You see a little bit of nervous energy with their movements. The headphones are on, and that was a quick transition. Bell is rung, and we are already underway. The white piece is having almost a minute advantage in a relatively equal position. Now, the black knight on D7 was pinned. He is out of that pin now. He is forcing the king back into the center squares. Does not want to let him get over to those 3 pawns. And I'd say the advantage in the endgame so far is to the more active king being white.
I would say it's basically time at this point. But that can change. Of course, as soon as you get a superior position, you kind of want to win it. And that takes a little bit more time than playing defensive moves. The
bishop pair advantage right now is building a blockade for the king to be able to get over to the queenside side of the board, the A, B, C, and C file. And the king is so far up the board now. It's going to be really hard for black to keep it together here. I think we're going to see that pawn eventually fall. Maybe this is the move.
This is almost over, actually, from an objective point of view. The bishop pair, the extra pawn, the king is just much more active, and plus the extra time. So the only thing that could go wrong is that he really wants to win it and starts to think about how to win it technically. And that does, sometimes you can play certain positions by hand. Sometimes you have to switch on your brain.
That's right, and we do have an H pawn, H pass pawn that can't be stopped. That he's going to trade one of those power pieces off for.
They call it Harry but that's lost. That was a nice fork. One bites the dust there, and back to an but the knight now is completely dominated by that bishop in the center.
And unless he trades off that bishop, he's not going to be able to get out.
And the 2 pieces aren't protected. King G6 is actually just winning a piece, I believe. He might get some compensation in the pawns. Oh, he didn't go for it.
Wow.
Oh, it didn't.
He's going for the trade.
It didn't quite work. It didn't quite. Actually, he saw that well. It's going to get messy. He's only got 5 seconds
This is so
left.
intense. I think this will come down to time with only 4 seconds left on the clock for black.
reminisces of my fight with Jules.
That's right. Low time chess boxing is always fun to watch. And here we are with the white pieces, the Italian fighter coming out on top. Not from a lack of fight from our German fighter. Really, really good showing. Equal match. One of the best fights I've seen so far in this Chess Boxing World Championship tournament.
Definitely, evenly matched. That's exactly what we want to see. I prefer evenly matched than somebody who's great and against somebody who's lower rated or something. It's evenly matched, which does the job. Everyone
wins when it's evenly matched. No one wants to see a mismatch, someone potentially get hurt. Everyone wants to see two equal fighters making themselves better by learning in real time against each other. Congratulations to the Italian fighter.
But evenly matched, Matt, just basically means that you're fighting your shadow, your reflection in the mirror, and that's what we're all doing,
That's right.